Hello and welcome to our latest headlines from Cardiff News Plus. I'm Amira Fouad. Last Saturday, a march was held in Cardiff to raise awareness about a condition called endometriosis. This march also marked the World Endometriosis Day. Nivedita Chatterjee went to find out more.
Endo March is a global movement. Over 60 countries host the march on the world. The organisation Fair Treatment for the Women of Wales supported the Endo March held in Cardiff.
The CEO of the organisation has the condition, and that's why it started through Endo. We do help other women with any health condition, but it started through this hugely debilitating condition.
Endometriosis is a condition in women in which the tissue that grows inside the uterus grows outside of it. This causes incrucible pain, organ damage, and also infertility.
Basically, they told me it was in my head that I was just anxious, I just wanted to get out of school. And then once I got out of the hospital, I went to see my gynecologist, and she actually said that I had endometriosis. That's what the pain had been. Whereas in the hospital, all the doctors had been telling me that I was making it up.
From a male perspective, it's tragic to have to witness, your wife, your fiance, or a friend just suffering for a week or so, and it's really saddening to not be able to do anything to help them. And for something like this to raise awareness, for me especially, it's kind of like, great, now I can help these people, these women who are constantly suffering.
The campaign focused on creating awareness about this condition and its symptoms. It insists on finding out the cause and cure for endometriosis.
I think firstly the government needs to recognise how debilitating this disease is. It's astounding that the government doesn't recognise it as a disability, although it is recognised as a chronic illness and covered under the Disability Discrimination Act. But further research needs to be done, and further funding and awareness is definitely required.
The march was also accompanied by a choir. The campaign received a very positive response. It tried its best to reach out to the people of Wales.
Hundreds of young people in Cardiff participated in a big music regional showcase event in the Millennium Centre last weekend. Organisers of this event hope they can give young people more opportunities.
Many young people like music. Now they have the chance to learn and perform. The Big Music Regional Showcase event is an activity which allows them to perform on stage or learn skills in workshops.
So the Big Music Project is to help young people to get into the music industry and break down those barriers, so it's not about who you know but what you know. So it can be anything from being on stage all the way up to hair, makeup, to stage management, to lighting, all sorts of things. So it's not just about those young people who can sing and perform, but it's about all the people that are backstage that help put on that performance.
Some young people took part because they have ambitions in music and hope to be successful in the future.
I want to participate in this event because we got the chance to perform as my band. I love performing, I love being involved in music. I want to be in the music industry in the future. I think that there's great connections, great networking here, just loads of different opportunities.
I will succeed in the future, definitely, with rapping, and I'm hoping it's going to happen anyways. It should happen. I've put the work in now, so just trying to build a few connections and take it somewhere.
However, some of those who came along do not want to work in the industry, even though they love music.
No, weirdly enough. I'm taking A-levels at the moment, so I'm in the last year of sixth form, and I'm taking maths and the sciences. So when I go to university, maybe I'll be in a band or something. Or I'm in a few bands now, and we're supposed to be recording soon. So that's an opportunity to put your music out there and get famous, more or less. That's what it is. Get recognition for what you've done. But apart from that, I don't plan to have a music as a career unless I have a midlife crisis and then suddenly decide that I want to be a 50-year-old busker.
I would really love to, as I'm going to take A-levels anyway, but that's just to kind of keep all doors open no matter what happens.
Only a few people can be successful in the world of music. Although this event may raise false hopes in young people, it still has meaning for young people.
I think today will give them experience of actually performing in front of an audience. But it's not just about young people performing, it's about them understanding the job roles within the music industry, running the workshops, so it's not just about the performing. Although the young people are all getting the opportunity to perform today, there's a lot more going on in the background as well. So it may give some young people false hopes that they may not sort of make it in the future, but I think it's important to have those hopes in the beginning and grab the opportunities as much as they can to perform and enjoy it.
More than 100 people took part and different kinds of music were displayed.
Laura Liao with that report. A rugby-friendly competition took place in Cardiff Arms Park Stadium. The Armed Forces Rugby Festival was organised to commemorate the 35th anniversary of the Falklands War and raise funds for the Armed Forces charities. Emmanuel Buza reports.
In Cathays Park, two memorials recall the war, when the Argentinian troops invaded the Falkland Islands and a British task force was sent there to stop them. The conflict lasted 74 days and almost 300 British soldiers were killed. 35 years later, in Cardiff Arms Park Stadium, veterans, soldiers, ex-police officers and former Welsh internationals played rugby to honor the memory of those who fought and died during that conflict. The event also raised funds for the Armed Forces charities, which provide help to war-injured soldiers along with psychological support. Falklands veterans gathered together once again to recall a common experience that has drastically changed their lives.
I still find it hard now to talk about situations, and when people, talk about the Falklands, I can't watch a film about the Falklands. I can't read books. I can't look at pictures of the ships that were sunk, and it was all too real.
Some of the veterans watched the match, others played, but everyone showed his support. For many of them, charities played an important role in their recovery when they got back home.
In a way they did help us, but it was hard going to get help, initial help first of all, but once we started it was on the road. I wouldn't say fully recovered, but they did help us in a way.
More than 100 people joined the festival and contributed to the funds raised. The organizers have planned this event for a long time, but only this year could they actually trigger the project.
Well, it's been a brainstorm of a warrant officer in the Royal Marines called Mark Stevens. He wanted to put this together. It's been a good couple of months putting it together. I think he's had this in his back pocket for over a year now. He's been doing other events, rugby events, out to Gibraltar and playing in different venues. They're raising money for the Royal Marines charities.
The pre-game entertainment was cancelled and the male voice choir along with the Welsh Guards Corps of Drums didn't perform on the pitch as was previously advertised. However, the organizers' aim is to make this an annual event.
The charity VCS Camry held an event in Cardiff at the weekend to explore and honour the history of volunteers during Great War. As part of their current project Stories Stray On, they hope to engage communities by sharing history in a fun way. Livia Jang reports.
Cardiff has a long history of volunteering. Back in the First World War, volunteers on the home front helped to keep the city alive and ensure a sufficient supply for soldiers in the front line.
That Cardiff in 1914 took in a group of over 100 refugees from Belgium because Belgium was invaded, and local churches gathered funds together to make sure that they had food, clothing, and a place to live. And I think that there's a very important parallel to see with what's going on in the world today. I think it was important because without all the war effort here at home on the home front, the soldiers abroad wouldn't have had the support that they needed in order hoped for Britain to have the outcome of the war. And it could have been a much more disastrous war if they didn't have the resources that they needed.
Children learned to plant seeds just as volunteers back in the First World War grew food to help the frontline army.
We're learning today that used to get families that would knit jumpers for the soldiers out on the front, and all sorts of community gatherings to raise money for the soldiers and just generally help the effort out for the soldiers mainly. So it was a massive part of keeping Cardiff going, and I mean obviously it's more focused on helping the soldiers, but it would have also probably been a big sense of community, feeling like they were safe back at home as well.
How should we carry on the voluntary spirit from our predecessors? One way is by passing it on to the younger generation to encourage them to join today's volunteer team.
I think it's important for young people to understand how important the contributions are with volunteering. My children, they've been volunteering for a while. Because I volunteer doing things, I would drag them along to things. So when he does a volunteering kind of day somewhere, helping out other people, it makes the parents feel proud, and it makes us just feel grateful that our children are helping and giving back.
For the volunteers, engaging with children and the community is a rewarding experience.
Definitely is a rewarding feeling being able to help others. Obviously it's nice in this environment to be able to teach the kids a little bit more about what would have happened and educate them, and just generally get a good community feeling, everyone coming together. It's nice to see different people from the area come in to see everything today.
The Stories project is an opportunity for youth volunteers to not only learn about history, but also to create bridges for different communities across Cardiff to get involved in the city's rich history.
Today marked the start of the Butetown Safety Week, an event that aims to raise safety awareness within the community. Nika Sakrimono reports.
About 2 per second and you're fine. There is a scale.
I attended one of the first events held by St. John's Ambulance, teaching a range of basic life-saving skills.
It's the first of the Butetown Safety Weeks. We're hoping that in other years to come, community groups can be more involved and maybe take on a lot of the organising and planning, because the idea was that we would set up a kind of a model for people to adopt.
This training is very effective. During a workshop last Christmas, David administered a session that had a great impact on someone's life.
The Christmas period, one of the children choked, and we had a nice email back after Christmas to say what I taught had actually saved that child's life. The parents or grandparents involved had actually put what I taught into practice and saved the child. So I know it's effective.
Various organisations and partners of the Safety Weeks support this initiative. With the support of the Cardiff Council, the costs of running these events is minimal.
It's not really that resource heavy in terms of the planning of the week. It's relatively low cost because a lot of the partners that we're involved with take on sort of the burden of a lot of the work. So the police are putting on events throughout the week. The fire service are coming to do home safety checks, which is all free of charge. And then ourselves as the council, we're involved with things like the litter picking and making sure that there are the right equipment.
Does free safety training have any effect on the turnout?
It's a bit of a double-edged sword. If it's free, people are quite happy to do it. But then if it's free, oh, I've got a bad back today, or I've got a mother-in-law coming around, or any excuse, and they don't turn up. Whereas if you charge for it, oh, I don't know if I can afford that, so don't turn up anyway. Or, oh, I've paid for it, so I'd better turn up. This little headache I've got, I'll put up with it.
During the workshop this morning, we were taught the basics of first aid training, CPR, as well as how to help someone who is choking with the apparatus on me right now. Nekasa Kimuna, reporting from Butetown.
That's all from Cardiff News Plus for today. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.